Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. We are live February the 19th, 6:35 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. Obviously, we're starting a new season, so we're very excited to discuss a bunch of topics today. Obviously, I'm here with David and John as well, and we'll be discussing today. And we also have a guest, so just stay tuned. Make sure you drop your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. So we're going to be discussing today, first up, the Dorsey deal. Obviously, we just pulled off a big one, acquiring a versatile defender and right back Griffin Dorsey from the Dynamo. So we'll discuss all of that. Then we'll preview, obviously, the Red Bulls, with Bob from the Designated Pundits, where we'll discuss, where are some of the weak points, some of the strengths, how they're looking in the preseason. How's Bob Bradley going to assess Orlando at the helm for the first time on the first team? So we'll discuss all of that and more. Then we're going to be shout out to David for crunching in the numbers of the fan survey for the Reddit. Obviously, the results are in, and the supporters, 246 of them, have spoken loud and clear, loud and proud. Optimism is not as high for a bounce back here, but there's definitely some real hunger for some trophies this year as well. And we'll discuss all of that as well. And also, we'll discuss the international roster slot, coming from that Dorsey deal and that we just acquired from Atlanta. Sorry, that we just gave Atlanta an international roster slot, and how would that work? And then also today, Edward Atuesta signed a deal until 2028 and 2029 season. So they just income to that particular year. I'm here with John and David. John, how are you, my friend?
Great, man. We got a sold out wall. We're like 2 days away from the home opener. The season's here. I don't know. I think I've been doing so much talking about what will happen this season. I'm just ready to actually watch some games and be in the season and be like, let's see how, we really are. Of course, last week was last week. It was still preseason. None of that matters. What matters is what happens on Saturday when the season starts. So let's go. Vamos Orlando, baby.
100% exciting times. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just, get excited, everybody. We're finally here after spending an entire long off season. The Lions will be back on Saturday. We're playing some meaningful football on Saturday, which is even better. So, just really excited to be back. And then for us to break down some more performances and stuff. I mean, this is where we all kind of get our licks in and, share our tactics and our minds and all that. So it'll be interesting to see how we get it all done. And I think, not to spoil too much, but I think it's against an opponent that'll get us maybe off on the right foot if we play this game correctly. So that'll be nice for us if we can get a win to start the season. I think fans will start to feel better about what this team looks like.
Yep. I do want to tell you one more time, our software and X are having some, I think they're breaking up. That's what it seems. I mean, it doesn't officially release us live right away.
Elon hates StreamYard? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think Elon really hates StreamYard. So I just reposted it for everybody. So make sure that if you like checking us out on X, it's up there right now. We're live. So thank you again for your support, and to the 28 people live right now on YouTube. Thank you so much as well. Now let's read some comments here. We have Kenneth Allen. Good evening, guys. As Dorsey said, Vamos City. I love this guy's energy already. Yeah, he's ready to go. Basically key, but what a beautiful time to support our Lions with a stronger backline and an open it right around the corner. Death Walker 407. Hey guys, thanks for all the hard work. You're completely right. So, we are going to start talking about Dorsey. I know that we have Bob from Designated Pundits coming in just a few moments, so to discuss all Red Bulls. But, we were stuck with Angulo playing right back, and people freaked out. We called it out here They gave me some info about Angulo, definitely trying out for that position. Eventually, it became reality. It was an experiment on preseason that cost us really big time. The backline was really green. It was a 4-1 result, a win for a young Colorado squad. And then obviously after our pod went off the air, it's like boom, we got Griffin Dorsey, from the Houston Dynamo. A lot of the Houston fans online were like, "Why are they doing this to us? Like, we really don't deserve this treatment. Like, what the hell is happening?" People sending me DMs saying, "Hey, take care of Dorsey. He's a phenomenal player. He's the best right back you've had probably after Freeman. He's definitely going to make an impact to your team." So, Orlando.
Hey, don't put that slander on Rafa Ramos, okay?
Nah, man, Rafa Ramos he's picking mangoes in a different country right now. Right now, he was a trade value 1 million in GAM and Garber bucks plus potential add-ons. Also, Houston will retain a sell-on percentage if Dorsey's later transferred. Obviously, Dorsey's been a consistent starter for Houston over the past 5 seasons, but obviously he's very versatile, especially in a position where Orlando really sorely needs. Primarily a right back and wing back, so he addresses definitely the need at the position. Orlando automatically, for a lot of the pundits and a lot of people, they sought an upgrade after the departure of Alex Freeman. So I wanted to ask John first, what are your thoughts on this Griffin Dorsey, Gryffindor, expectus patronum, the Harry Potter?
That's what I just heard. I mean, of course I've heard of Griffin Dorsey before. I immediately thought of Hector, who is like our counterpart over in Houston, who does a great podcast over there. And I was on Goals TV last night, and all week he's been on the socials, like, really upset about the situation that Griffin Dorsey's leaving. He said Griff came to Houston in the last opportunity to make it as a pro. He took the opportunity in a bad situation and became a legend. Houston loves him, and Houston will always be his home, is what he said when I asked him for a quote. So you could, from the passion point of view, this guy, he clearly is the kind of guy that I think the Houston fans fell in love with, and I think Orlando City fans are going to fall in love with. I'm going to let David kind of give you what he's like on the field, but from off the field vibes, I think he's like a mix of sort of Kyle Smith, Dagger Dan, and like Adrian Vinter all in one. So that's kind of how I see it. And I love his man bun. I want to say that.
David, what are your thoughts on Dorsey?
Yeah, I don't know if I endorse the man bun, but that's fine. I get the I get the preference
glorious
there. Sure. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a really solid move. Kind of to Mikey D's point in the comments, the front office kind of listened to us a little bit after we kind of talked about, right back can't be the way it is going into the season. And I think all along, a lot of us thought that move was going to be an interleague move. I just think it was probably too much in terms of like visa and time and everything else that goes with it for us to probably pull in an international of sorts. Plus, we wouldn't have been able to make the move today that we did with Atlanta to get that extra cash with it. But, out of all the right backs in the league and sort of the profile of right back that we need, he fits that bill of like someone that might have been available. I'm a little bit surprised that Houston was willing to part ways with them. I know we gave them, $1 million in Garber bucks, with some extra potentially tacked on, but I'm still a little surprised. But I guess a lot of Houston fans have been like, this is on par with Houston's offseason so far. The front office doesn't really care. They kind of just do whatever they want, and doesn't matter if it's a fan favorite or a guy who was going to start for them in 5 days, 6 days, or whatever it was. So there was a lot of upset people. I think it's really interesting, sort of to John's point. I was able to slap together some information rather quickly, and kind of I think the best thing for fans was to give them a comp between what Alex Freeman gave us and what Griffin Dorsey's going to give us, because I think a lot of people, and they really shouldn't, are going to go out there on Saturday and go, oh, great, he's a like-for-like replacement for Alex Freeman. Guys, he's not that. I can tell you that right now. He's just not. But he is going to give you some nice stuff going forward. He's just going to look a little bit different when he goes forward. So if if anything on my article, and again, this one isn't a long one, so this might be a more palatable article for everyone to read. But I think the biggest thing that you might want to look at if you have the article is to look at the heat maps between Griffin Dorsey last season and Alex Freeman last season. And the biggest difference that you're going to see is Griffin Dorsey tends to hug the touchline a little bit more than Alex Freeman was. So Alex Freeman would, of course, bomb up and down the right-hand side for Orlando City, but he often would find himself inside, right? As soon as he made it to the 18, he would like to cut in, take a shot, or get involved somehow. Griffin Dorsey's not going to do that as often. He's going to have moments where he really likes to sit sort of in that final third on the right sort of section of the final third and really ping a ball in. He's going to want to cross the ball. He's going to want to play, you know, a couple of passes on that side to get the ball into the box. So that's the kind of guy that you're getting with this. Now, when you look at like 1v1 defending and things like that, which I broke down a little bit in the article as well, he is about on par what Freeman was in terms of 1v1 defending. Freeman has an advantage on him in aerial duels. He has an advantage on him on dispossessions and things like that, but everything else is pretty even for the most part. So defensively, you should see a pretty similar player. He's just not built like Alex Freeman, so you're not going to see like a tank just over there kind of doing his thing. So that's, I think, the differences that you should expect from Griffin Dorsey and what he's going to provide. The biggest thing for fans, though, is he's going to be fit, which is great because obviously he was ramping up to a season with Houston. So you don't need any of that. It's the chemistry problems we hope don't snowball into Saturday, and they could, depending on if he can't build a little bit of chemistry with his counterparts going into Saturday. But at the very least, if he can build it with Brekalo, who we imagine will be right next to him, he'll benefit. And then if he can do it with Pasalic, because I would rather him have it with his partner on the right wing there if he can. So exciting stuff, and obviously really exciting that Orlando City was able to get somebody else in.
So that's what I was gonna say to touch on what you said there. Don't kill the guy if he, if he gives a turnover. I mean, he's brand new, bro. Like he just got to the team. He just, we had a fan that's an LPO maniac that messaged us on Instagram and said, "Hey, I just saw him with his wife at the airplane. They're super nice. He's super tired. Can't believe he's going to go to practice, so and so." I was like, well, he's probably gonna start, So, I mean, again, we could be talking a lot about the stats and what he definitely can contribute. It doesn't mean that we're going to see it immediately. And again, this is something that I will say will fall onto the front office's feet for possibly not having a replacement after Alex Freeman left. So I think we need to definitely not just shoot the guy and say, "Hey, you suck," right? And then
Luis,
punish his whole entire career in Houston, which is really highly regarded.
To your point, Luis, I would be okay if the coaching staff just told him, "Hey, either just be defensively solid for this game or bomb forward and we'll figure out the defensive part." Like, don't put all of it on his feet all at once kind of thing, So to me, I would say let him be his true self and just let him get forward if he wants to, because Brekalo, Iago, and Marin should be able to figure that out. And defensively, it's very similar to last year, right? Those, I know it was Brekalo playing, out wide on the left, but just let them go to a back three when they go forward and let those guys defend. Let them do the defending and let Dorsey kind of do what he needs to do to get forward, and don't put so much on him, before the season starts. But I'm excited to see him nonetheless. I'm not going to skewer him if he has not a great game. This whole defense, as we know, is still trying to build, so we just got to give them all a little bit of time.
What are your thoughts there, John, about the impact that Dorsey could have on the first team?
I think he's ready to go, and he is a hardworking guy who clearly has just come in straight away and is working hard to be ready for hopefully tomorrow, right? Red Bulls, tomorrow, Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's
Let's bring in our guest Bob and talk all about that.
Sure. The home opener, it's going to be tomorrow at 7:30 at Interco against revamped New York Red Bull side. We have Bob from the Designated Pundits right here in the backstage. What's up, Bob? Good to see you again.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so obviously we're coming with with a big question mark, a lot of new players, same coach, Oscar Pareja, is expected to deploy hopefully a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 formation. Obviously we had Maxime Crepeau, Brian Ojeda, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We just got Griffin Dorsey. For starters, tell us a little bit about how was the New Rebels preseason. I know that you guys also play a couple of games, and what are you guys' expectation from the get-go against this Orlando side?
Yeah, so preseason for Red Bull was completely closed doors. It did not see much. I was able to see the ticker that the organization put out there, but that's okay. I know from a reporter standpoint, people don't like that, but from a soccer standpoint, I kind of do like that. It's a new coach, and we're not really putting anything in these results anyway, right? Like, there were preseason games this week that people were, this team's going to be great. You played against a side I've never heard of before. Like, let's temper our expectations a little bit. I like treating preseason like NFL preseason. Like, it doesn't matter the result. It matters that this player gets to play in a position they have never played before. It matters that these two players build some chemistry, that, this passing triangle got some work. I don't really care about the results. And it's easy to say when your team closes the door. So, it is what it is. I think Red Bull had some really good results from preseason, and it doesn't matter what the score line was. Cade Cowell stepped in his first preseason game and put 3 assists, on the scoreboard in his first 90 minutes, not even with the team. So, I'm looking more at things like that. And with this Red Bull squad, they're vastly underestimated. You think this is going to be an easy game for Orlando? You guys have something else coming. I really like the squad, like what everything's put together. This is a competitive team, and should be treated like such.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Cowell making a lot of buzz. John, you have anything you want to ask Bob?
No, I mean, I guess I'm happy to hear you're so confident, Bob. I mean, like, you've got a new coach. I think you have a decent roster so from last year. I'm never that high on your DPs. I think just because of their age, I think there's always that, are they going to be able to get through the whole season, that kind of thing. I don't know. I guess I don't have as much hope and faith in the Rebels as you do, clearly, and especially with the new manager. But like, if you're feeling like you're going to be still consistently good, it is a new.
Put some respect on his name. Come on, he's been managing since he's 12 years old. Come on.
No,
come on. Next Pro is not the same, Bob. It's not the same.
Well, it is when you have an under 23 roster that you're bringing into Major League Soccer.
Yeah, but see, now you're just playing under 23 bowl like us. So, isn't that going to be like a lot of young kids out there? Is that what we're saying?
As far as depth, yes. As far as starters, it's going to be a mixed bag. I do think certain things. Now, Red Bulls, it's a big market, but it's not necessarily a team with a huge following, a team that's going to sell out a 60,000 person stadium every week, like, your Atlantis and stuff. And I think that's part of the reason why people think that about our designated players. Like, Emil Forsberg has scored at every level. He scored in the World Cup. He's scored in Champions League. He scored everywhere. Any other market, like if he goes to LAFC or to the LA Galaxy, his name is on and his face is on every piece of promotional material for the league, right? Like that's the level player he's going to be. And with Choupo-Moting, what I was just talking with Mark Fishkin about seeing red this past weekend was, age matters, I guess, but for a long time, and I'm an NFL fan, so I'm going to bring it to NFL. We used to track running backs by age, like, if they're 27, they're going downhill. But then we found out it's not the age, it's the reps, the number of times you get hit, the number of times you get tackled, the number of times you get brought down that really ages a running back. And for a striker, now, Choupo-Moting, he's a very big guy, but he doesn't play extremely physical style. He's not taking knocks. He's not getting beat up every match. And he scored 17 goals last year, and he was available almost every time we needed him. So I think the squad is a really nice balance of youth and experience. And I was surprised, but not shocked, to see a lot of pundits rating them lower than last season. But I think last year was the worst of all scenarios. The team played with absolutely no urgency. That was a coach thing, right? I liked Sandro Schwartz. He was very open. He was very kind. We thought he was coming back. Like we didn't think there was any chance he was even on the hot seat at the end of last season, but he was. And part of it for me was the lack of urgency. They kept saying, oh, well, we're going to fix it next week. We're going to get this right next time. Well, time runs up on the coach and time ran out on the team. But when you look at this team, was the 10th place finish last year, that I see that as the floor. Because if you see this roster now, there was a lot of turnover. There are 3 returning players from the 2024 starting MLS Cup match. 3, right?
Wow.
Now, there are some depth pieces. There are some academy players who are going to be names that we've known. But I just think that 10 is the floor. You know, all the signings we made, they could be something. But those things add, right? Like if Jorge Ruvalcaba, a DP winger from Mexico, he could bring so much. That could be an extra 3 wins. Cade Cowell, that could be another 2 wins. That could be another 3 wins. You have new players on defense. Omar Valencia with a full season. Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, Robert Volader. We did lose a little bit on defense. Ethan Horvath is going to have a lot of balls to save this season. He's going to have a lot thrown his way. That's going to be for sure. But, Gustav Berggren, he's another DP quality midfielder who played only a few games, like I think less than 800 minutes last season, just couldn't acclimate. And it was a less of a team fit thing and more just he came in the offseason, came at the very end of the season, didn't get in America until very late. So, that's 3 high-level players. If Cade Cowell was going to Orlando, I think you guys would all be singing a different story
110%.
about him at that point,
110%.
Look,
So-
Bob, I got nothing against your squad. I'm just saying,
Okay.
I think they're, probably like 10th maybe was this low for you, but I feel like that's kind of average is how a lot of people see them. And that's how a lot of people see us this year too. Like I'm
I
not
was gonna-
saying,
of course.
I was gonna say a good point to that is I feel like a lot of the pundits are talking about teams that had a lot of changes this year. They just expect a lot of them to go through growing pains, but I don't think a lot of the national pundits are talking about, well, what if teams can hit the ground running and those changes all hit
totally.
at once? And obviously it's not going to be every team, but there's going to be 1 or 2 teams out of that stack because there's a
Sure.
few teams that made a lot of changes that are going to hit the ground running and people are going to go, where did they come from? And I, for one, don't want to play the Philly problem like last year where everybody counted Philly out and all of a sudden we get whipped up on them the first week of the season last year and it ruins our unbeaten streak, for opening day. And we're like, whoa, where did this team come from? And all of a sudden, they're top of the East for the whole year. So
And we're
let
doing
me
it
ask you
again
this.
with Philly.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Bob. What's a
Dorsey?
name that people aren't talking about on the Red Bulls that you think could really, just make an impact this season for them?
That's a great question. I mean, there's a dozen young players that I could name in that spot, but the one who I think is going to have a starting role, there are two guys, Ronald Donkor and Adri Mehmeti. They are the 2 best midfield prospects to come out of the Red Bull Academy. They played with the Red Bull Academy coach, who is now the senior team coach. I always like when that happens. And when a coach like Michael Bradley comes in and immediately Red Bull gets rid of 5 midfielders, now you have my attention now, like
Right.
maybe they were players that had to go anyway, but I trust Michael Bradley's opinion on the matter, so I think whoever wins that 3rd job, I think Ronald Donkor is going to be, the first guy up. But Adri Mehmeti is a really talented, more of a number 6. He might be slotting in more for Berggren if Berggren doesn't get acclimated right away. But this midfield, Forsberg, Berggren, and then Donkor is going to be like Forsberg, your number 10. He's going to play a little further back. I think this year he does slot in left to give Ruvalcaba, I think, some freedom there. But you got a great number 10. Berggren should slot in as a really nice number 6. And then whoever the next guys is just going to be like energy. Just run at guys, do that thing. And, I think with tactics, Michael Bradley, we talked about him a little bit before. I'm not counting him like a first-year coach. I mean, he's grown up in the coaching world. Obviously his father was a great coach. He has been mentoring people with the national team for as long as I can remember, on his own team for as long as I can remember. So, I'm really excited. I think there's going to be a star coming out of the midfield, and I would lay Mehmeti's name down first. I think he's 17, something like that. Really, really young age guys, and coming up from the academy is just going to be really could have a lot of minutes and could become maybe not a name yet, but one of those, if this team is finding themselves 4th or 5th in the East, it's going to be on the backs of the midfield, and you're going to have a young player of the year candidate.
I just think that what you say and the tone, how you say it, and the passion that you show when you say it seems that getting younger, gets the New Red Bulls fans actually a little excited. And actually, the attitude is, hey, F what this pundit say. I think my rating is actually a little bit higher than when you're rating it, rather than, and the way I see it sometimes here is, oh, this pundit said it. It's like the Bible, like it's like word. And, I think that comes from the
100%.
years in the league that the Red Bulls had and the history of the Red Bulls too counts here, and be completely honest, I wish not only the club, and I'm talking about Orlando City, making these MLS Next Pro team a little bit more available so fans maybe would know more about the pipeline that they have going on, because now pretty much the way it's being framed for us, at least it seems, there are a bunch of unknowns,
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. Look, I just finished a series where we had guests on from all 30 Major League Soccer teams. We finished that up today, and we did 45-minute specials, one for each team. That's better content than you're going to find on MLS's own website, And when you talk about these pundits, it is an echo chamber, and I think that the more media you have, the better it is. And I hear a lot of league-wide posts, and 30 teams, that's impossible to cover all of them. But people default to whatever the on-air personality says. If he says he sees XYZ, people are like, that was the plan. That's what they're doing. No, these teams lose all the time. So what happens to the plan when you lose? Well, you didn't exercise your plan correctly. So we don't know what that is in every case, I don't think soccer's all black and white. I think there's a lot of room for interpretation. And you hear someone say, oh, well, this team was trying to do XYZ, and like, maybe I see it a little differently, or maybe they came in with a plan and the other team imposed their will, and now all of a sudden you have this team and these guys saying one thing about the team when really their goals, the way they're placed out, what they're trying to do is something completely different. I think that's a really great point.
Yeah, and it's for everything. Like when Nani left, for example, and Facu came, they're betting their franchise to a under 22 player, on a known Uruguayan. Pasalic came, this guy used to be a freaking construction worker back in Croatia. Boo-hoo, he's not Cristiano Ronaldo. Why are you not bringing me Cristiano Ronaldo, man? And now, boom, Pasalic, a hit. Martino Ojeda, they wanted to bench him. Season 2 in Orlando. He needs to go to the bench. He should not play any first time minutes. Boom, third season, explodes. Like, so my question is like, it's so, the MLS is just like, you can't really, you could do all the analysis you want free. What counts is what happens in the first game 1, and then you can start assessing and actually drawing everything together and putting the numbers down. But I mean, before that, I think it's a little far-fetched, because some of the ratings were like completely like, I felt like they kind of shafted to me. I think the Red Bulls, I think they were a little definitely skeptical for Orlando, because I think Rubalcaba, you kind of know who he is, obviously some of the kids that won MLS Next with the Red Bulls, everybody knows.
Bob, to give us his lineup, maybe.
Yep. If you want to go ahead and
this AI from Apple TV, was this close?
No. Well, yeah, that's actually extremely close. I would assume that Justin Shea does not start right off the bat. I think Dylan Nealis, who's a player who low upside but high floor, he's not he's not gonna astound anyone, but he plays really solid defense and he's known the system for a long time. I think Nealis gets a start over Shea. Volodare is a question mark. I think he will hold that spot down for a little bit. I think he's a really good defender. Watching him play one-on-one, make some good tackles, but he's been part of some of the worst defensive tandems in Major League Soccer. He's kind of one of those like Kamal Miller type guys for me. Like, I think he's really good, but he hasn't, shown it on the field anywhere in Major League Soccer. The only thing I would say is I have, Forsberg and Donkor playing mostly even, and Bergeron being a number 6 with more like 2 dual 8s. You know, Forsberg's going to push up a little and he's going to push a little left, but I don't have him as like the set in the center of the field type number 10 because he does hug that left side a little bit. So I would go the same thing, but I would invert the midfield a little bit, have them a V in the other direction. But yeah, this is one of the really, really good ones. And it's because we have established players in every position, and you don't see that in Major League Soccer everywhere. Like, I think if the plan A works, you're going to see the same lineup each and every week. Now, we have guys who can spell players, but I don't think there's a lot of tactical or, you know, substitution wise, a lot that needs to happen here. You know, I think that is a strength that a lot of other teams can't say. Like, how many teams in Major League Soccer right now don't have question marks for week 1? But independently, I came up with a lineup that was identical to this with one player substituted as center back.
No, that's true. I love the wings, man. Rubalcaba and Kyle are going to be pretty hard to deal with. I don't know. What are your thoughts there, John, on the starting 11 for the projected starting 11 for the Red Bulls?
I think we got to watch out for those. Yeah, like you said, the wings, our fullbacks are definitely. I mean, you know, I want to have David do our lineup here. I put it together. I think this is probably pretty close. David, what do you think from our side?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if Atuesta goes in for Bo Ojeda instead of him starting there. Just because I think that the team is just higher on Atuesta with something like that. I think it's going to be interesting because, you know, with and Bob, I'm sure you saw some of this, but we had a open preseason friendly last Saturday. It was our only open one that the club really had the whole time, but we got kind of the wood put on us from Colorado, and our defensive woes were pretty wild. So I think really in this game for Orlando, it's just important that whether it's Iago or Brekalo, of really just kind of knowing where, you know, Choupo-Moting is at all times, and then just having Cartagena be able to wreck sort of not only the middle of the park, but really just kind of track Forsberg and make sure they know where he's at, because I think that's going to be sort of the biggest issues with that. I know a lot of Orlando City fans have been down on Marine. Obviously last year he didn't have a great year, but it seems like in preseason so far he's been all right. He's going to have his hands full week 1. He's going to have to know how to deal you know, with all of that. And then of course Dorsey's, you know, we just got him, so he's going to have to get used to the team a little bit and what that looks like. So I think it'll be a little bit more hands full in terms for this team to figure out you know, how to handle all this attacking power. But I think Orlando City ends up having a chance if they can break that first line and kind of be able to catch out, you know, teams on break. That'll be their game most of the season. Again, they'll catch a lot of teams on the counter. They'll try to move quickly as they can, but yeah, the defense is gonna have their hands full for sure.
Yeah, Choupo-Moting, look, he's 6'3", 200 pounds. He's an inch taller and 10 pounds heavier than I am. If you can't track where he's going, you know, you got some bigger problems on defense here. You know, I think I like this. As a Red Bull fan, I like seeing this lineup here. I think that defense is exceptionally weak, especially with Jansen missing. Iago, you know, one of those 3 young Brazilians who I think is going to play really well this year, but in game 1, maybe not. My bet, you know, and I do like the predictions here, and we have our show coming up 8:00 tonight. My pick is Red Bull to score twice, over 1.5 goals plus 196. I think that's going to be a lot for Red Bull this season. Look, Red Bull in the lead up to MLS Cup, they were an incredibly boring team. They were winning 1-0. You know, I think this is a season of 3-2s, 4-3s, 4-2s. You're going to see a lot of scoring on both ends. Crepeau, cool. Let's light him up. Let's test him out every chance we get. And hey, on the other side of the ball, you know, Ethan Horvath is just as much a reclamation project on our side of the ball, and he should get tested too. So I like goals in this game, and, you know, 2 teams that are very heavily weighted on the offense with not a whole lot going on in the back. I think Red Bull have a higher upside on defense, but you know, I just think it's a really inopportune time for Jansen to be missing some time, and I think it's gonna be a really fun matchup.
So Kate Carroll and Marco Pasalic are going to eat? Is that what you're telling me? These are the guys they're just going to dominate? We're going to see a Winger fest.
Now, Kate Carroll is a really interesting player
well,
that I haven't talked much about. Cade Cowell is not talented at soccer, but he's an elite athlete at every level, you know? I think his technique is kind of the criticism that he's gotten everywhere he's been,
Yeah.
but I think that fits the system, you know, with Choupo-Moting trying to create chaos in the box from the ground all last season. I was almost afraid last year, oh, we're going to fling the ball in the air too many times and see how and that wasn't the case. But this might be the case this season, you know, with Cade Cowell on the side there. So, you know, Red Bull last year was all about, you know, creating chaos inside the box. That's what they're going to be doing again this season. You know, I really liked, I guess you guys were at the first or second home game of the season last year, and Paslich scored that banger from outside the box. I mean, we're still, I think the post is still reverberating after that one. You know, I just really, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Cade Cowell, yeah, maybe Ruvalcaba too. You know, I'm not sure who's going to be doing the scoring here, but I do like what Cade Cowell brings. He brings a ton of energy. He's going to cover a ton of the field, and he's a big dude too.
Yeah, he brings a great point when it comes to Choupo-Moting, because he's so experienced that just that alone against, you know, Iago's going to have a 9 out of 10 match, because he's going to try to make so much space. Do you guys remember the game of Orlando City when they played Kyoto, Montreal? I see him doing a lot of the stuff Kyoto would do to a center back. You know, be a little.
I mean, he played in the Premier League. He knows how to get under people's skin and knock
100%.
people over, call for fouls, and back into guys. And you know, he's that kind of player. He's a very intelligent striker. He knows. I mean, he's aged well, where he knows how to use, you know, his skills in the right way. He's not what he was, but also like he hasn't run through his legs. And I think like last year he played a good amount of minutes, Bob, and that was probably like some of the most minutes he's played throughout his career. I mean, I remember when he played for Stoke, and he played a bunch of minutes for us as well, because it was a similar situation. Like he'd been in a lot of big clubs, and then he's at a club where he finally gets to be more of the star player, and he shows I can do a bit more. So yeah, we're gonna have to watch out for him. Iago's gonna have to look a lot better than he did against Colorado. David, who do you think we're going to bring off the bench? Like, what do we expect in subs, or maybe potential other starters?
Yeah, I think someone who could cause Red Bull some issues is someone like Thiago to come off the bench and kind of be a change of pace with Spicer. I mean, Spicer's already kind of naturally quick. He's got those long strides, but Thiago's got a little bit more of that technical ability to cut in. So I think he's going to cause a lot of teams problems, but I could see him specifically causing Red Bull some problems off the bench. And then I know people might not like this answer, but Ivan Angulo as a sub might be able to find some spots in behind. Obviously, his problem all last year was there was no end product, so we got to hope that he can put something, you know, in his end product to make a difference there. But I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, if Orlando City can weather the storm defensively, like be able to kind of contain Red Bulls and for what they're doing. Because I agree with Bob. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on both sides, because I think these teams are still kind of, that's going to be their game plan for most of the season. Outscore your opponent, you're going to win the game. You'll be fine. Your defense is probably not going to give you a lot of lockdown performances, at least from the Orlando side. I just don't think we're going to get a lot of lockdown performances in the beginning. So I think what might be big for Orlando is, do we shift the tactical style? And like I was telling these guys before we got on the show today, does Marin more so stay back and make a back three in the attack and not send both fullbacks forward, just to be careful and you know, protect against, you know, a run of Cowell or, you know, Kava or anybody else that's going to be, you know, potentially making that run. So it'll be interesting to see how Orlando decides to come out and do with it, because Marin has been getting a little bit farther forward this preseason than he has in the past, and he does have a nice ball. I mean, obviously John and I saw it with his through ball to Duncan in the 70th minute last week. So he's got that in his bag. I just don't know if in a game like this, where there's so much firepower, like Bob has said, I just don't know if Orlando City tries to risk that, especially with being at home, wanting to start the season off on the right foot. You know, this is a big home game for Orlando to try to get the season off, you know, the right way. But I'm sure Red Bulls would love to come down to Orlando and take 3 points back with them.
We got a sold out wall, but not a sold out stadium yet, Bob. So expect some, you know, some vibes from the supporter section at least.
Yeah.
Good.
We talked about all these goals. Go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, I was going to say, you know, Red Bull had the 2-3 years ago had the best road record in Major League Soccer and one of the worst home advantages because they were letting these teams come out aggressive. So I don't think that coming out aggressive is going to be the game plan. But if you do, please do. I want to see like 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game. That would be fantastic.
Maybe we score 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game, Bob. Come on, like
I think the weakness here of each team is these are two very.
You said your defense was bad too.
Yeah. I think that these are two teams that have a lot of parity. I think that Red Bull and Orlando have a lot of similarities
100%.
in weakness and I think in strength too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that, what do we think score wise? What do you think, Luis?
I think it's gonna be a 2-1 Orlando, and I hope Oscar did not use the win back mode with Marion and Dorsey. What I was gonna say was I feel because we're like I agree with Bob there. I think we're very similar teams right now, and they need a stay put back four, and they need to build from the mid forward. So, have Dorsey and Marion staying in position, making it easy for Cartagena and Atuesta to take the hits and then bounce back forward, build from the mid and the attacking third. If you start building from the back, like if we would have Robin Jansen and then having Dorsey do the wings, I have a feeling that Bob is saying, I mean, they have Ruvalcaba and they have Kate Cowell. Like they're gonna try, and Chupo is gonna try to be disruptive. I pray to God, hopefully, Iago, he's gonna have the best game he's gonna be like MLS Rookie of the Year like appearance against Choupo-Moting because it is a huge test. And I mean, he's an experienced center forward. I mean, say whatever you want about Chupo, but I mean, he's an experienced center forward. So. We'll see how that goes, but I would like to stay like that. And if everything goes well, 2-1 win, Orlando.
Bob, what do you got?
I don't think this game is under 3 goals. I don't think there's any chance of that. I think this is a 3-3, 3-2 win. Again, my actual prediction was just that Red Bull scores a second goal. It's almost a 2-1 bet, which is kind of astounding for what Orlando their body of work over the last 365 days. I don't think, keeping that second goal out should be, something you could triple your money on. But yeah, let's go 3-2 Red Bull. No one came here to see me pick Orlando, right?
Hey, Bob, I would be disappointed if you picked us.
Yeah,
even
right.
if I know you're a betting man, but come on, you can't do that. David, what do you got?
I'm actually on a similar sort of wavelength as Bob. I think it's going to be 3-3. I think we're going to see goals aplenty. I think I think both teams are able to put them up, but nobody's really able to stop them. And it would be very Orlando City to draw on opening day. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the 3-3.
I mean, that would be really fun, but also I want to win.
Let's
the
not
game.
make it an RSL like 3-3 like we had, in our early days. I'm not looking for that. Let's have a solid 3-3.
I mean, no one's expecting a clean sheet here, right? Like what?
Yeah.
What if it's like a 0-0 boring draw now? Like that's the most MLS thing to happen. Honestly,
I'll be
right?
extremely surprised if there's
We're all
a clean
sitting here
sheet.
saying we're going to score loads of goals, and then there's no goals either side. I think I could see it. Like let's go 3-2 the other way. I'm gonna go the ante of what Bob said, just for mirror image of that. I want goals, but I want to win. So, and I don't see us keeping a clean sheet.
There you go. Let's read some comments real quick. It says here, poor Spice versus Jimmy D. Angulo's back, baby. Says I can wait for Saturday. This is Daniel Vega. It says, since we need a DP striker, anyone see that Philippe Coutinho's is a free agent? There you go. Fully expect Orlando to beat them down and take this Red Bull teams to a dominant draw, says Frankie Cosmos. I love that. This is sorry, New Red Bulls, you're not a Sigma. I don't know what that is.
That's some kid talk. I don't know.
Curious to see how minutes get spread between Spicer, Thiago, and Angulo. I don't know. I think David has some info about Angulo. I think he's gonna be where everybody wants to see him at.
Yeah, so sources have kind of told us this week that Angulo will be the backup guy to Pasalic, most likely on the right-hand side. So in order to get him a little higher up the depth chart, because he would be sort of third string left winger.
Yeah.
Obviously, the right back
100%.
experiment is done. Thank God.
Yeah.
That
Thank God.
experiment is done. He will slide in and be the backup right winger. So whenever they decide to bring Paslic off, it'll most likely be him. The expectation is Gustavo Caraballo will play most of his year with OCB again because they still think he's a little raw. So I think you'll probably see
What?
Angulo back him up.
I disagree.
Sorry, Bob. No Angulo at right back for you. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I was really looking forward to it. I mean, the first thing I was coming off the airplane and putting on a pair of cleats and getting on the field.
Yeah, you'd have a great time. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Kurumakawa will have a field day.
Yeah, he would. He
And,
would. Well, I want to say thank you, Bob, for coming, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate your thoughts. And I hope you lose on Saturday.
Likewise. Thank you guys for having me so much. Anytime.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Bob.
Bob.
Appreciate
Guys,
you.
check out Bob, Designated Pundits. Great show.
Designated Pundits. Hit the link of his podcast is on the description of the video. Make sure you go subscribe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you. So let's read some more comments here. It says here, are you guys keeping track of the predictions this year? I like the Excel sheet segment, says Frankie Cosmos. Well, that'll be Mr. John.
I log it, Frankie, and next week you'll have the Excel sheet. We'll start to put it in. Don't worry.
Need to get it.
I thought I should upgrade it, but I think it's kind of janky, and I like it. You know, it's one of those things where it's it's just an Excel.
Angulo to OCB. Nah. I mean, it would be a good upgrade. Interesting kind of sad Orlando City stat. Apparently, if Marcos scores, he'll have the record for club record for opening game. 3 goals, says. Oh, wow. I mean, whatever. As long as he scores, I don't care what records he breaks. I just want him to score.
He can score as many as he wants. He doesn't have to just do one. That's fine.
Yeah, it says Ruben Perez says, we will start bad but finish the season strong so that we'll be ready for the playoffs. That is what Miami did. So
Ruben, I have a better suggestion. We start strong, we middle strong, we end strong. Done and done, baby.
New concept called consistency.
Hey, Luis, real quick, before you get to the rest of the comments. Tom Bogert just dropped a Bogert bomb about Orlando City. Tom Bogert says, sources, Orlando City is finalizing their deal to sign highly rated U.S. Youth National Team forward Justin Ellis to a homegrown deal. PSV had interest as well, but his future in Europe will be obviously later. He will start in Orlando. So, guys, we talked about this on LPO the last couple weeks. We had heard from sources that Justin Ellis was going to sign his deal. There's the Bogert bomb to do it.
That is the best Bogert bomb I've heard in so many weeks of preseason. I think this kid is ready. He has the mentality. He has the huevos. That kid is ready for the first team ASAP. He was ready, at least to me, since last season or even before that. I mean, the kid has the ability. I have huge praises for him. I'm so happy with these news. I don't know about you guys, but I think I think we're doing right by the player. We're doing right for Orlando. I think it's a win overall. I think it's a tremendous pickup. There you go.
He said, call me.
Call me maybe.
You got called, Justin.
Yeah,
you answered the phone. For
all you guys that haven't
I
followed
love that picture he used.
Yeah, for all you guys that haven't followed the academy or even OCB the last year and a half, Justin Ellis is the real deal. This should have been a name that you've heard amongst a lot of the youth players. It was like him, Alex Freeman, Reed Brown's been very highly touted as well. These guys are all, and number one, this just proves that Orlando City's academy continues to churn out just tons and tons of talent, and it's just taken us a while to get to that point for it to affect the first team, but now we're starting to see what that looks like. And then obviously we talked about a couple weeks ago when we first kind of told you guys that about the deal and about it coming, because obviously for a while he was spurring Orlando's advances. He really wanted to go to Europe. He was trying to make it work over there. But this is a big deal for the club to get this done, number one. But then secondly, whenever he has his ball out moment, and it honestly for a kid his age, it doesn't need to be big. If he scores 5 goals, 7 goals,
or
whatever
8
this
goals.
season, between
Ooh.
this competition, and then let's say he scores another 5, 10, 15 in OCB, he's gone. And we're going to sell him for a ton of money. He's going to be gone. It's going to be no problem at all. We'll have to see what the contract details look like, because from what I understand, per sources, the reason this deal took so long is because they were kind of squabbling over how long his deal was going to be, which is understandable because at first he didn't want to sign at all. So you can understand that to a degree. So just more than anything, though, really exciting stuff. He adds striker depth. Again, not
100%.
veteran depth, but he adds striker depth, which is really awesome. So now you're going to have the three-headed monster of Duncan McGuire, Justin Ellis, and then when you want to play Thiago there, you'll have the option to also play Thiago there. So really exciting stuff. And then also, if he does play for OCB some games this season, go and check out OCB. Here's my plug for OCB. Go check them out. This guy is so much fun to watch. Go check him out. He's won at like every level of the academy. He's had some great minutes for the U.S. youth national team. This guy's a stud. Like, start watching him now because he's going to be on some big teams.
Now, I do want to say, when you mentioned the Caraballo not, kind of Angulo taking over, the Caraballo, being playing on the right and taking Carvalho's spot, Carvalho kind of being the third stringer there on the right. That's what I want to say. It's like, they should have made Carvalho fight it with Angulo. I have high regard of Carvalho too. I understand, it's a coach decision and all of that. But again, we cannot make this signing and then, put him in the depths of in the really low depths of the depth chart and never had any freaking minutes. That's one thing I would hate to see, to be honest with you. I want these kids to play. I want to see them play. I want for the fans to get to know them and get to cheer with them, and get to see them have a lot of grit, because both of them in OCB, at least, they show a lot of potential, including Otero, the goalkeeper. So
Luis,
let
me say this. Let me say this about Caraballo, because I agree. I like Caraballo a lot. I think we're all very big on the kids, if you guys haven't picked that up at this point. But I think Caraballo had such a stop and start season last year for OCB. Like, I wasn't able to watch as many OCB games as I wanted to, but I watched a fair amount. This year, if you guys don't know, so just a big picture thing that I kind of want to share that I heard from some like league folks, a lot of the MLS teams that have two teams, which is a lot of them now, actually asked the league if they could schedule games in a different way so that if a first team didn't use their young players, the next day they could go and play in a, an OCB kind of thing, right? So if Orlando City didn't use Caraballo and he was on the bench, the next day, if they had an OCB game, he could go and play a full 90 minutes or 70 minutes or whatever it was. So not just Orlando, but a lot of teams went out there and said, hey, could we make the schedule in a way so that we could make that happen? And MLS Next Pro did a really nice job at doing that for a lot of teams. There's still some weird crossover, but for the most part, they did that. So, with that, though, that gives these guys a chance. So if Caraballo, let's say, makes the bench, let's say for the first 3 games he makes the bench, but only gets like 10 minutes, right, between those games, which was kind of his numbers last year, he still has an opportunity the next day to go and play with OCB at, like, let's say Osceola, go play with OCB and get 70, 80 minutes and really rack up the thing. Because to Luis's point, if Caraballo puts up double-digit goal contributions with OCB, he's going to have to see first-team time, right? Like, he did such a great job against the Rowdies last year. People thought it was enough. Unfortunately, I think under Oscar, the way he treats young guys, it's not enough. But
I was disappointed, to be honest.
Oscar can't ignore him if he goes to OCB and puts up double-digit goal contributions, right? He just can't ignore that. So I think OCB will be an even better jumping off point for guys this year because all these teams were able to talk to MLS Next Pro and get them to adjust the schedule so that they can go and get more playing time. So I think we're going to see players even like Colin Gusky, I think, is going to get those opportunities. Yeah, I think Otavio is going to stay fresh using OCB as a way to kind of stay fresh and be ready for the team, because I don't know how many minutes he's going to get from the jump. Otero, I don't think is going to, because he's going to be the backup keeper for Crepo, so he won't get time there. But Tristan Himes is a name you guys should be watching. Juan Rojas just signed with OCB this year. He's a very talented up-and-coming goalkeeper. So there's a lot of people in the pipe that you should be watching. So if you're close to Kissimmee, go check these kids out. They deserve the support, number one. But secondly, you're going to see the future stars of Orlando City on this team, and you should see them when you can.
100%. Let's read another comment real quick. It says, I agree. I do wish Caraballo had more pitch time. He's a talented young player that deserves a chance. Very humble as well. All the main team guys love him. Why not give him what he wants? I
Oscar
think,
Pareja.
yeah, I think, this is the thing. It's like, it's either we want to do what Philly's doing, right? Well, expose your kids to the fan base because they don't, some of them don't know them, and also make that make keep your first team guys accountable if they have a dip with a young guy that's hungrier that's going to come try to take their spot. You know what I mean? It's just common sense. Like, I feel like it all comes down to favoritism, in my opinion. Is the nerdy verse. Frankie Cosmos 2025 MLS next MLS next pro U19 MVP. And it says homeworld deal is kind of vague. Hope it's just not this season.
I imagine it's probably 2 years.
Yeah,
They're not going to want to
probably
make
2
the
years,
Freeman
yeah.
mistake. I think it's going to be at least 2 years. We'll see what the option years look like. I think that's where it'll get rather interesting. But then also the other thing too is I wonder how much playing time he'll get. We know Oscar doesn't love the kids, so I'd be curious to see what he ends up getting this year.
Yeah, Kenneth Allen says, imagine we almost never knew how good Freeman was. 110%. 110%. And this is the thing. We kind of dropped the ball. I was talking to Bass from Soccer Review Radio yesterday. And, he was telling me about, yeah, you guys kind of dropped the ball on Freeman, And again, Thomas Williams is actually starting with Nashville right now. They played a friendly against a team from Central America, I believe. And then he started and had a really good game. Apparently he had like top blocks, top clearances, top tackles. Like the kid balled. And I'm happy for him because he never got a chance here, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
So there's no
let's hope Taifi doesn't run into the same thing because I'm worried about him
100%.
getting buried as well. So
No way Marco plays 2,500 minutes this year. I think we will see Gustavo, says Frankie.
I think you'll see
It's like-
Angulo before you see Gustav. I'm just being honest.
Knock on wood. OC sideline support. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate all your comments. Says, is your defense ready for this week? New York is coming in as an underdog. How's the confidence we can get it done? I think so. I mean, I think we've. I mean, I'm very positive. I know that there's a lot of question marks in Orlando, but I'm never gonna say they're gonna get buried. I mean, I hope that they don't. At least I think the players are gonna be a little bit more motivated. I think they know what's at stake here. It's a must win, man. I mean, the next 3 or 4 games, it's a lot on the line for the Lions.
And
man.
Luis, I'll say this: I think I know Bob wasn't as high on it, which is understandable. He's a Red Bulls fan, but I think this matchup for Iago is kind of a better fit for him. Like Iago is a strong, physical center back. Motang plays that similar type game. If Iago just stays physical with him and kind of can use the Brazilian physicality to his advantage, which is what I was kind of worried about when he made the jump to MLS, because MLS can play a little soft, and I don't like how the refs call those games sometimes. But if Iago can really just play him strong and play him tight, it frees up Brekalo to kind of be the ball-playing defender. It doesn't force Iago to do it. And then they kind of tie up Choupo-Moting, and we're okay there. But I think the other bigger thing about the defense is Cartagena has got to be on Forsberg like glue on, whatever analogy you want to use. He's got to be on him like real tight the entire game. And we'll really see if Cartagena has it in him right now to do that, because I think that'll be the biggest key.
Yeah, we're gonna read some comments just a second. Thank you so much. We're almost 65 people live right now, so thank you for your support. I do want to move into kind of talking about your fan results for the survey. I know that we were going to discuss that, right? I think that was next. But before that, we will talk about the wall. The wall is sold out, and what do you guys think about the wall being sold out? I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the stadium is not looking fantastic at the moment. I just went and looked at tickets for the rest of the stadium, but the walls, as much as has been out there this off season and the end of last season about supporter groups, and I'm not wading into that, but they're the heartbeat of the stadium, and when they're full and it's rocking, you can feel it across the entire stadium, and it makes it hard for the opposing team. So I really think, having it sold out going into this game, swings the advantage farther in our direction, even if the rest of the stadium might feel a little light. I think if the wall is rocking, we're gonna feel good. The team's gonna feel good with that backing, and I think it gives us that little bit of extra push and that advantage. So really excited to see the wall. I hope the rest of the stadium gets filled out a little bit, but I guess we'll see how that looks like in the next 2 days or so.
Your thoughts,
Yeah.
real quick, John, until we dive into the stats and the survey. Thoughts on the wall being sold out, man? I mean, I think it's pretty
Look,
big.
I think for like big games, a lot of the like casual fans want to come and they like coming in the wall because it's like fun and they don't have to worry about seating allocation, and like so that kind of like top half of the wall always fills out, and then that really just like makes it feel really exciting. But yeah, I mean, if the rest of the stadium looks empty, then that sucks. So we don't want that. But yeah, I'm excited for opening day, so I'm not going to get downhearted by the idea of us losing or the stadium not being full. I just want to get in there, see all the Orlando City people, the fans, the team, and kind of get back to it, man. Because it's been like off season going on. I'm ready to get back in the stadium.
Yeah. Before we dive into the survey, real quick, let's read some comments. Says Gustavo is the future of Orlando. The whole team supports him and trusts him. Says Jairo Garcia. He should see more minutes this year. It's the trend of all teams in the world to trust their young youthers, says Jairo. Thank you so much for your support. A surprising amount of West Side seats are sold. Is gradually becoming slim pickings for certain sections. This opener should be good. Listeners, if you have friends, bring them. Says basically Keith. Thank you. Wonder if the wall will do a Galessa chant to Grifo. I highly doubt the way the Galessa thing went. I doubt it will happen, but I'm going to do a prediction. If Grippo craps it, the Galessa chant will start on match 3, and they're gonna be forced to put Otero in. Fierce and faithful. Maybe this is Angulo breakout year. Landon, the wall needs to be loud. This is basically key with Iago being in the opener with a similar pro-con style team. I think we'll see him defensively shine, hopefully, man. But let's go into David's preseason survey you did for the Reddit, OC Lions Reddit. Fantastic numbers and awesome. I mean, that was fantastic, bro. So congratulations.
Yeah.
That was
so first of all, I just want to
success.
thank everyone out there that was able to take the survey for us. Compared to our postseason survey that we did, because we started with the postseason, we got 100 more responses this time, which is really awesome. So like Louis said earlier, 243 responses in total for that. So pretty awesome stuff here. A couple of things I just wanted to shout out about the survey. Number one, I put a video together. So if you have an opportunity and want to watch the video, it's about 30 minutes, I think, if I remember the time correctly. I kind of break down all the numbers and talk about what it means and give a little perspective to what it looks like, because numbers without perspective are boring. So I wanted to give a little perspective on that. And then I also have some written content on it as well. I've got an article on my personal blog, Fladoodler's Figurings, but then also I have a post on Reddit, because obviously this is where it originated from. Just a couple of quick hitters that I found pretty interesting. The fans are definitely not as positive on this team going into the season. That shouldn't really surprise anybody. A lot
100%.
of those sort of general feelings about the team were in the 4, 5, 6 range. So really, like the average came out to about 5 and change for a lot of those answers. So sort of middle of the road, which is understandable. The most painful player out, of course, was Alex Freeman. Fans felt really harsh about Alex Freeman leaving. But for incoming players, I love to see the Brazilians get a special shout. Iago and Thiago kind of ran away with that award, so just hats off to them. And really interested to see how those two Brazilians kind of head on with their season and everything. And then for like the bigger awards that we've covered and gone over already, Martino Hayda was overwhelmingly voted MVP by the fans, as he was for top scorer and top assister, as well as top attacker. A lot of people are high on Wilder Cartagena. They had him as their midfielder of the year, so I would love to see a bounce back season for Wilder. Their defender of the year went to David Brecalo, just by a little bit. He got one more vote over Iago, and then Robin Janssen got 64 votes. This survey did happen sort of around the time that the Janssen injury got announced, so some people might have voted for that pre the official announcement, but we're not going to hold that over anyone, of course. And then I think the most important part is how we're going to finish this season. So a overwhelmingly amount of people said we were going to still finish in the playoffs, but in the lower spots. So 34% said we were going to be in the wild card spots. 30% said we were going to be 5 through 7. But there was a good chunk that said we weren't going to make the playoffs. It was about 30%. But 30 and change percent said we weren't going to make the playoffs, and then 5% of folks said we were going to get the wooden spoon. So that was kind of tough. I hope we're not in that. Category, but I guess we'll see. Not a lot of confidence for Leagues Cup. A lot of people said we were going to get knocked out in the group stage. And then for the U.S. Open Cup, a little bit more positivity. Most people said we were going to get knocked out in the round of 16, so we'd at least make it one more round. But there were some folks that were hopeful that we would compete, deeper into that cup. And then the big question that I wanted to ask to kind of see how fans felt is, does Oscar Pareja make it through the season? And this was pretty split evenly. 37% said he will make it through the season. 35% said he will not make it through the season. And then 29% were just not sure if he was going to make it or go. So I guess that kind of encapsulates the fan base pretty well in terms of how people feel about Oscar Pareja. And then last but not least, we broke down some demographics and what that looked like. Obviously, a predominant amount of people from Florida, but we did have some responses from, North Carolina, Tennessee, Michigan, New York, Indiana, wide variety of different places. We did have some from the United Kingdom. We had some folks over there. So shout out to our UK fans that answered the survey for us. And then we did have one response out of Ireland. So gotta love that as well. And then
What about Wales?
And then last but not least, we broke down how long have you been an Orlando City fan? And 34% said they've been here since the USL days. So shout out to those folks that have been here since the beginning. That's really awesome. And then 25% said they were here since the first year of MLS. So over 50% of folks have been here since basically the beginning of the MLS trials and tribulations. So just some really fun stuff. Again, if you want to see more of the in-depth numbers and what that looks like, I've got my article posted on Fladoodler's Figurings. You can also find it on the subreddit r/OC Lions. And then I also have a link in my article to the data set, so you can actually see the data for yourself. I don't have it and I use numbers and all that kind of stuff, so I don't have it in that format, but I put it together in a keynote so it's easy to click through and kind of see which ones you're looking for. But I have the table and the graph with it, so if you're looking for the raw data, you can see it in there. But really fun survey to break down and look at before the season started. Again, just really appreciate everyone's efforts to fill out the survey and give us their feedback.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a phenomenal job that you did there. Make sure everybody go check it out. It's the beauty of sports. Right now, one thing about the sports in general is the narratives just flip like with the, like right away. So, this could be a validation later on of like, super validation for everybody, but also it could be a funny footnote. You know what I mean? It could happen. The cool thing is that the fan base is vocal on what they see and what they want and how they feel. And I think that's the most important thing of what David just did here. I think it is super important for people to hear what the fans think, and I commend you for that, David. I think that's fantastic. Thank you, bro. So,
hey, John, what was your favorite thing that you tweeted about on the survey?
Okay, I was watching I was listening to your video while I was working, and I fully laughed out loud because when you said 3 people voted Ivan Angulo for the Orlando City MVP of the year, I was like, y'all just. Come on, man. Like,
his agent.
And then, I tweeted about that. Someone said it probably was Ivan, and someone also said it was Oscar. And I was like, guys, you're getting me. You made me laugh on that one. So thank you for whoever did not take the survey seriously.
I also wanted to say too,
just put stupid stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I also want to say too, Taifi got 20 votes for Defender of the Year, which I thought was awesome. But also, like, I don't know how he wins.
Man, it can still happen. You gotta believe.
It can still happen. You can believe in
Taifi, man.
I still believe he's the new Swiss Army knife. I think that's how Oscar's going to use him.
Dorsey as well.
So yeah, if Taifi can get some meaningful minutes as like the Swiss Army guy, 100%. I could see him being a fan favorite for sure. He already should be, but
he's invested in the team, and I think I second what you guys said. Let's dive into Orlando City today. Broke the news that they acquired 100,000 in 2026 GAM general allocation money Garber bucks and 300,000 in 2027 GAM from Atlanta United FC. In exchange, the Lions have sent a 2026 international roster slot to the Eastern Conference side. When you first heard this, John? What were your thoughts on this? And what's Ricardo cooking, in your opinion?
I mean, it's one of those that you read it and you're like, oh yeah, like sweet, we got an international slot, and you're like, no, you didn't get an international slot. You gave away an international slot. So I know people, you get confused, but we've acquired GAM, right? We love a bit of GAM, and of course we're giving away an international slot. This I don't necessarily means that we're not getting a DP. I think everybody like alarm bells went off in their head, being like, we're not getting a DP, we're giving away an international slot. I think it's more likely that we have guys on our roster that have got a green card and they just haven't announced that. And when the roster designations come out, you'll see that there are guys that were international that are now not international. And I guess Ricardo has too many. And so he's going to sell some for some GAM to be able to buy somebody down, right? I mean, there's got to be some logic behind this. I don't know the ins and outs of what trading he's doing here and there to be able to accumulate GAM to pay off this wage or whatever here and there. So it's difficult to know exactly why we've done this, but I don't think it means for any mean that we're not going to get a DP. I think it's just a case that we have an extra slot and we don't need it, and Atlanta need it, and we can get some money for it.
Yeah, David, are they going to get Philippe Moutinho?
No, I just think listen, I'll say this. I'm surprised that we don't need the spot. I thought for sure we would need it for something. Must obviously mean that we got a lot more green cards. So I'm curious who comes out. Because obviously by, I think tomorrow they have to be roster compliant. So,
you think about the amount of players we moved out, and then think about how we got in some guys this year that were already in the league that are international, but might have green cards already.
But I think if my numbers were correct, we were still over by 2 if you just go pure off of like what we had. But again, I think more people picked up green cards and we just don't know about them.
Don't know that yet.
So those will all have to be announced. Well, they don't have to be announced, but they have to be submitted to the league, I believe, by tomorrow. So we should hear rather soon. But to me, that sounds like a Friday news dump kind of thing. Here's some folks that are on green cards now. Here's
so much news to dump before the opener.
maybe the Justin Ellis thing gets dumped tomorrow as well. With all of that. No insult to Justin, but that just tends to be how they, announce news and whatever it is. I mean, like I said, good piece of business. I don't love that it goes to a rival, but I mean, what can you do? I mean, you get money where you can. We didn't really need. I'm not saying we don't really need. We'll always take the GAM, but we had a lot of GAM already because of the Freeman sale and everything else that happened this offseason. So getting more GAM for next year is always good because then it helps us obviously for the future and things like that. So I just think this was another good move by Ricardo to just be like, hey, listen, we don't think we need the spot, so let's go ahead and just make some money on it while we can. It does make me question, what does the DP look like? Because we still know we want to go out and get a DP, and like if we just gave away an international spot, are we going to have a international spot in our pocket even with selling one? Or is the player that we're going to get as a DP, are they going to be American? I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. So I am curious to see. What that looks like. So I listen. I trust Ricardo so far. So far, he's been making a lot of moves. This move basically pays for a good
Dorsey.
chunk. Yeah, a good chunk of Dorsey. But and if you look at all the moves, there's kind of some that pay for the B. Ojeda deal as well. So yeah, just another good move for it. I hope Atlanta's not using it to get somebody else in, but we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, solid move from the club.
OC Silence supports is Gervais healthy? Thought he looked better than Atuesta at times. I think they're gonna take him right now. He's still recuperating, so he's still probably not gonna. You're not gonna see him play probably the first 3 games. I mean, he's day to day, but I agree defensively he's better than Atuesta. But I think now with Wilder back, I think Atuesta could play a role more of going forward. Are you allowed to put GAM in a diversified investment portfolio? Asking for a friend. Like, well, one thing I say is if they do this, the MLS teams and Mexican teams go to South America type of deal with CONMEBOL. It will be, I think Orlando, if they get a really solid DP, let's say like a Neymar, they'll be able to do the same thing Inter Miami does. Play preseason, let's say in South America, travel and do the Neymar tour, put the Neymar on all the posters, charge. Okay, we're gonna fill out you want to see Neymar? Okay, your 40,000 seater. Okay, let's sell it out. We go 60-40. How about that? And so you make like good 15 million, 20 million chunks of pure cash per game. And that's exactly what they do over there in Miami with Messi. They just
Luis,
pocketed in Ecuador, they pocketed 30 million bucks.
Real quick before I think you misspoke a little bit. Gervais not expected to be back till after the World Cup, so he's still out with his ACL injury. So
I think still out. Okay.
Yeah, he's still out because his ACL injury happened late last year, so he won't be good to go till probably post World Cup. So let's clarify that just real quick.
This is true. Maybe they got all green cards because of World Cup years, says Frankie Cosmos. Yeah, probably. Fierce and faithful. Trust Oscar. He still believes Angulo deserves a spot. Well, all I'm gonna say is this. I'm sorry to be the anti, but maybe against the Red Bulls, minute 85. 0-0, Orlando. There's a free kick. Angulo grabs it by the wing. Scores. Are you guys gonna chant? Are you guys gonna be happy?
Wait, you're telling me they let Angulo take the free kick? Because
No.
Lost me.
No. He drives the ball. So they pass the ball to Angulo. He drives it on the flank, drives it in, shoots and scores. All I'm saying is, I'm assuming the fans are gonna be like cheering the goal, right? And Angulo's gonna celebrate. And Orlando will win the game 1-0.
Yeah, but if he woofs it into the stands, which is more often, I'm also gonna boo him. Like I don't get the point.
So it doesn't matter if he gives you a win.
No, yeah, but you're looking at it from a very positive side of it. Angulo was bad last year, Luis. Like hands down bad.
I understand, but fool is cyclical, right? So what happens if he scores a winning goal?
I need consistency from Angulo, not
just for that moment. Not
so you wouldn't say good Angulo for scoring a goal?
No, I would say good Angulo, but I'm not going to be like, wow, everything's great.
I'm not saying will you guys celebrate the goal? Will you celebrate the goal?
We'll celebrate the goal. I don't get what
I celebrate every goal for Orlando City, but it doesn't change my perspective on how good Angulo is.
I understand. So if he scores the goal, you guys will celebrate it, right?
I would celebrate every Orlando 100%. City goal, if that's the question you're asking.
There you go. Yeah. It will celebrate the goal. So, and hopefully he keeps going and keeps scoring, right? And if he keeps scoring, then the whole Angulo is at fault. It would die down. It wouldn't it be, right? It could be a possibility. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. The odds are not in his favor. That's for sure.
Luis, I would love nothing more than Ivan Angulo to have double-digit goal contributions. If he could somehow pull double-digit goal contributions and MLS out of somewhere, I'll sing his praises. The guy scores 10 goals, I'll buy his jersey. I'll put that on record.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, that's cool. Ivan Carlos Rivas Angulo. I don't think he's Carlos Rivas material. I think it's a little better. Carlos Rivas, if you saw how to Carlos, do you agree, John, with Carlos Rivas and Angulo? Carlos Rivas was just, come on.
Look, okay. Angulo had a good year in 2024, right? He was good then, but recently, you've been bad, and soccer is 100%. What have you done for me recently? So until he's good again, right now you suck. Right. So I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
100%. There's a new contract. Edra Tuesta. Yeah, he just got offered a new contract. 2029. Would you say that his season last year was inconsistent?
Who? Tuesta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he started off strong. I don't want people to forget like how well he started for us because he actually did pretty well in the beginning part of the season. He fell off for sure, but a lot of the team did. So I don't know that I necessarily want to hang my hat on that.
Me too.
I like this move for him personally, but I question a little bit where the team is going with this because remember, Brian Ojeda is signed with us for a long time as well. Like he's got a few years on his deal. I know Cartagena is only on a 1+1, so maybe this is the backfill of like, we have Brian Ojeda and we have Atuesta for the next couple years, so we don't need to worry about it. And then if Cartagena is able to give us a couple more seasons in between there, we can just keep giving him a new deal and giving him a new deal. But I don't hate it. I think it just makes it confuses me a little bit because obviously our expectation is Wilder Cartagena has the one of those spots, and that Atuesta and Brian Ojeda were going to fight for the second one. It seems weird to kind of tie both these guys up right now on for that one spot, but maybe the club is planning something that we're not seeing and whatever. Or maybe I'm more down on this. I could totally be more down on this than I should be, but I like his play as long as we put him in the right spots.
Yeah, I mean, and Ricardo Moreira said the following. He says, we want to play Edward because of his intelligence, composure, and leadership with us. He has guided the team tactically and in the locker room with exceptional professionalism. We're proud of his impact in Orlando and look forward to him anchoring our midfield for years to come. So do you second that, John?
No. I don't like this, honestly. I think if we're locking him down because we just don't want to lose him on a free because they think he's worth something in the future, then that's fine. I'm not sold on Atuesta yet. I didn't really feel like giving him another contract worth multiple years after having an okay year last year is justified. I mean, I'm guessing he's not on a huge amount of money. I don't see in this rebuild signing Atuesta to a new long-term contract. I just don't think that makes sense to me. I think it made sense to have him for this year. And like, I would have given him this when he proved it, when he earned it, because I don't think he earned it last year. And I think that if you want to keep him here a long time, that's fine. But like, make him be good. Like, let him prove it through the first half of this year. And then like in the summer, lock him down. I don't know. Maybe there was some interest coming in or something, and we wanted to keep him. But if there was an interest coming in, I'd have been open to selling him because, again, I'm not sure he's the guy for Oscar. And maybe that'll change if Oscar leaves and then there's a new coach and he's better under a new coach. I mean, 2029 is a long time. A lot of things could change. But yeah, it didn't feel to me like this was the right time to give Atuesta a deal that goes for 3 years.
I think it depends on the salary too, because last year he was on $725K.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's a lot. Yeah, so like, unless they were like, hey, we'll give you the longevity, but we won't give you the annual number. I don't know. Like, I don't know what that looks like, to be honest.
I agree with you guys 100% on this. It seems to me it's a little long. And yes, he played out of position last year, but he's an MLS seasoned vet, and a lot, we wish that he could have had a better year. Let's hope that this year he kills it and shuts me up and shuts everybody up here. You know what I mean? That's, I think, what everybody wants. Now, I do agree with John there. To 2029, probably too long.
It's long.
Again, we'll see what happens. I mean, again, all I'm going to say is this 5 games coming up for Orlando City are vital. I will say, especially the 3 at home, are must wins. A lot of things. It will be one of the most heavily judged MLS seasons for Orlando City in a long time. There's a lot of things expected by the fans. Some fans are not happy at all for what happened the past season. And again, I'm just going to throw it out there. The hand has been let go. Like the hand has been let go. Well, that's all I'm going to keep it like that. Some players, if you look at the departures of Orlando City, Some players have gone. These players are really close to some of the players that stayed. Oscar was part of those decisions of letting them go. Now Oscar is on his own, essentially, as I'm saying. The players are going to do what's best for them, what's best for the team. If they're given an opinion, hey, what do you think about the coach, man? Like, do you think he should stay a little longer? Yeah, 2024, hey, yeah, let's protect the group. Let's be a family. We're a family, guys. We reached the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, no Schlegel, no Galese, no all these names. Now, all right, well, like, you know what I mean? So these 5 upcoming games, guys, are really, really important. So not only the fans need to support, I know through thick and thin, and I know a lot of fans do, but also if the players are watching, play like it's a final. Because I think these fans that go see you deserve it, 110%. And I'm going to leave it like that. Let's read some more comments real quick before we do closing arguments here. So let Cartagena do the free kicks. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. 2029 is a long time if it doesn't pan out, says Kenneth Allen. Yeah, I agree with you. He almost scored 10 goals last season. I hope he gets better finishes this year. Ruben Perez, I would like to see B. Ojeda instead of El Cafetero at Tuesta, says Ruben Perez. There you go. Anything you want to add before you go, John? I know that you got to go as well.
No, just excited and see you guys all at the stadium tomorrow. Peace
Saturday.
All right,
out.
man. All right, take care. What about you, David? Anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, just excited to get it going. Let's start off on the right foot. I think a win could go a long way on Saturday. If we can pull out a win, I think it'll make us feel better going into Miami and the kind of the brutal stretch that you talked about with the first 5. So I think a win would go a really long way for us.
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, I think all I'm going to say is this too. Let's stay united as a fan base, whether win or lose. I think we need to look into the brighter picture. I think we're here for Orlando City, and that's what should be the most important. Now, I think the fans deserve a win. I think there's been a lot of, especially I read it on your amazing your blog and the data that you brought for the surveys. There's a lot of dissatisfaction, and fans are entitled to that, and the players need to know that they're coming to a team that they could really set a really nice tone with a win against the Red Bulls, and then fighting like this 3-headed dragon called a 3-headed flamingo called Inter Miami, right? And David, one thing that they've never been able to do is beat us at home. So the implications are huge, right? Do you feel that the implications are huge for that Inter game?
Yeah, I think if anything, we shouldn't. Obviously we got to focus on Red Bulls this weekend, but we really should be looking for how do we come out against Miami, the week later. I just think it's really important for us to keep the momentum going against Inter Miami. We had a great regular season against them last year. I know we didn't do as well in Leagues Cup, and there's arguments, of course, that the reffing was bad and all that kind of stuff, but we really need to keep that momentum going of kind of saying, hey, they might have won a cup last year, but we can still beat them when we need to beat them. And especially in our house, we're not going to let them come in here and kind of push us around. We're going to do what we need to do. So to me, it's start well against Red Bulls. I'd love a win, but I think it's probably going to be closer to a draw. But start well with Red Bulls, build some of that stuff up. Because I'm not as high on the Red Bulls as Bob is. I think they're a beatable team if you're able to kind of put it together. And then really have momentum going into the Miami game. The worst thing we can have is pick up a loss this weekend and then have like no momentum going into Miami the following weekend. You really want to be back-to-back, like just put in solid performances, make people feel good about all that stuff. I think that's the way you need to kind of start the season when you can. And then after that, you can prep for the silly baseball fields with NYCFC and all that junk.
Yeah. Again, I wanted to thank everybody that joined today, about 80 people live today. So thank you for your support. on this Thursday LPO episode. Just be advised, I did a hot take on Griffin Dorsey that's out now right here. It's thank you for everybody that watched it as well and left their comments. I was a little busy with work and I haven't been able to respond, but I'll respond today to all your questions. We also have the other episodes of LPO right here. And coming up tomorrow, I spoke to my good friend, and I want to say hello to him, Mr. Vass. From Soccer View Radio, New York. He's accredited with the MLS and your Red Bulls. We discussed all tactics, all deep dives on the Red Bulls. He actually differs tremendously from what Bob just said today. He actually feels a little weary facing this Orlando City team. So if you want to hear his views on how he sees it, he just went to Media Day with the Red Bull. He was just there talking to the players. He senses a little bit of some overconfidence that could really, he said, this, it could really not work on their way. He thinks that Michael Bradley may choke, so if you want to see that, it's going to come out tomorrow. So stay tuned to our socials. And then for me, at least, the season starts with another trip to Orlando, to Intercoast Stadium. Lucas, our photographer, and I will be there giving you the play-by-play of the game. So we're going to be there on our X accounts, and as well, we may do a little video beforehand. I don't know. We'll see. But I thank you guys for your support. Anything you want to add, David, before we go?
No, just really excited to get it started. Like I said, just want to start on the right foot against Red Bulls and really have something positive to talk about on Monday, because I think it's going to be really important for us to kind of put all that together. Yeah, just really excited to get into this weekend. Just really excited to get to the stadium. Hopefully we'll see some good stuff and we come out firing. That's the hope.
Yep, that's the hope. And again, thank you guys for your support. Drop us a like, subscribe, drop us a comment. We'll respond to you on the next live, hopefully with a W for Orlando City. And again, thank you guys, and vamos Orlando. Have a good one. Thank you so much.